Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, I'm ready for the event.
Boy Scouts of the Bay Area, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Keith Trimble, Cub Master of Pack 643 of the Bay Area. How do you hear me?
Loud and clear. How do you hear me? Yeah.
What was the most challenging problem you encountered while on your mission? How did you solve?
Well, that's a great question. We have a lot of challenges every day, but I think one of the more interesting ones was on my first spacewalk when we had a leak in the hose that we connect to the spacesuits while we're getting ready. So we have to be in the spacesuits for a long time before we go outside. And so these umbilicals connect to us and give us water and power and scrub our air. They do everything for us so that the suit, the spacesuit, and all of its systems don't have to work so hard. But unfortunately, we had a bad leak. And what that showed me, both Peggy and I were pretty helpless. We couldn't do much. We were just sitting in the spacesuits. But our incredible crewmate was able to reload the water that we had lost and get everything ready inside. And this massive ground team was able to not only fix the systems, but build a plan for us to go outside and do the main tasks that our spacewalk was supposed to accomplish. They had everything. All the skids were greased. They were ready to go. So when we went out, the robotic arm was ready, and the lights were ready, and the comm was ready, and the plan was ready. And it just showed me that for those absolutely incredible things, for those super hard things, you can't do it alone. You have to work as a team. And there's no better team when it comes to the impossible than NASA and the crew that we get to work with.
Say your name first.
My name is Donovan. What is the most surprising thing you experienced in space?
Man, there's so many things. Obviously, the spacewalk was so cool, but it's you just get excited. I'm like a 12-year-old boy after a couple cappuccinos because everything I see is so cool. Whether I'm working on the toilet or doing a spacewalk, it's just totally different than what I knew before. Looking out the window, of course, is amazing because you see the world in a totally different perspective. Eating your food, totally different. All of these things give you a different perspective on life and everything within it, and it helps you grow. I hope and I wish for all of you that you never stop learning, that you keep your mind open to new ideas and new perspectives so that you can look at problems in multiple ways and grow and become better.
Hi, my name is Cole, and what was the biggest hardship you endured in becoming an astronaut?
Well, that's a good question. And it was obviously pretty hard to learn how to fly a Russian spaceship in the Russian language, but the hardest thing is being away from your family. And it's the same thing that all of our brave men and women in the military endure every day all over the world. Being separated from your family is the biggest hardship. And as an astronaut, you actually are gone quite a bit, so that's kind of tough.
My name is Bryson. What procedures do you follow if a fire breaks up on the ISS?
If a fire breaks out. So there's 3 big emergencies that we have on the space station: fire, an ammonia leak, or depressurization, like we have a hole. And those 3 emergencies we train for all the time. We have these books that are in different places around the station, and on our computers, and then we train exactly what we're supposed to do. Like for a fire, if this computer started on fire, we know exactly, okay, I'm going to press the button over there. It's going to shut off the ventilation. If I'm going to unplug the computer, hopefully that works. Then there's fire extinguishers. We have a plan for all 6 people on board, what they'll be doing. Maybe they'll grab the equipment out of the module, or they'll help me fighting the fire. Or if a fire extinguisher doesn't work, then maybe we'll power down racks or the whole module. So we have very strict procedures that we practice all the time, so we know them cold, because in the case of an emergency like that, you really don't want to have to think about it. You just want to do it. And we can do that because we're ready for those worst days.
Hello, my name is Colin. What part of traveling to the ISS is most exciting?
Man, pretty much the whole darn thing. It's exciting once you're here. I imagine it's going to be exciting going home, but I think the coolest part was launching, because it's like gas mileage for excitement. It was the most bang for your buck. In 8 minutes, I went from sitting still on a launch pad to being in orbit, and that was just amazing. I've flown a lot of planes and with lots of thrust, but nothing really compared to having almost 1 million pounds under me, get me to orbit in 8 minutes. It was just like riding a crazy wild bull that jumped us right up to orbit.
Jackson, say your name.
Hi, my name is Jackson. What are some of the studies and experiments you are working on in space?
Good job, Jack.
Boy, there sure are a lot of them. We will probably work on about 300 experiments over the 6 months or so that we're on orbit for my expedition, and they range the whole spectrum. We have experiments from elementary schools, middle school, high school, colleges, universities, cutting-edge research, everything. And we are constantly pinging back and forth working on these. As far as examples, one that we're going to be working on here this week is we're growing lung cancer cultures and testing a new drug that actually targets those. Stuff like that happens every day here. And it's so exciting because you get to feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself and that you're actually going to make a difference. So there's just so many experiments, and we're really excited to see the breakthroughs that come from them.
Say your name.
Hi, my name is Matthew, and if you could pilot a rocket ship anywhere in the universe, where would you go?
Well, I think it's important for us right now to get a permanent foothold in the stars. And I think the best place to do that is Mars. So I would love to pilot a rocket ship to Mars. I think we have some work to do on some of our systems, especially propulsion. But I think we're going to get there. And I would love to help make that happen.
Hi, my name is Hanson. What did you hope to gain personally and scientifically while working on the ISS?
Well, I think being up here, we get this wonderful deal where we get to have the time of our lives and float around and play with our food and look out the window and just be a part of this amazing team. But that's kind of our personal reward. We're not trying to gain anything out of it. We're trying to be part of the team. And we are the lucky few in this huge worldwide team that are able to be up here, but we understand our place. Our job is to do those last little tweaks to experiments to get the data back to the ground. So the true heroes, the people who come up with these experiments, who do the research, the people who run this space station and make sure the power works and the water works and everything comes together, those folks are the ones that are creating the science. And all we're here to do is support them so that that science can get out to the world and make humanity better.
Hi, my name is James. What is it like communicating with your family in space?
Well, it's not bad. We have a internet protocol phone, so every now and again we can call on the telephone and talk to them. And sometimes we even get a video link so that we can have kind of like a video conference with our family. I just had one. Let's see. It was yesterday. I had one with my mom for her birthday. So we get to talk with our families and still keep in touch with them.
Hi, my name is Jamie, and what advice would you give to a young person going into a STEM field?
Boy, now that's a good question. So my dad, he died when I was pretty young, and the last thing he said to me was, I dare you to dream. And that's my advice. Because the dream part, only you can define what it is that lights the fire in your soul, the passion within you. You have to find something that you truly love and that you're passionate about. And then the dare part, you got to work for it. Nobody's going to give it to you. Not everybody gets a trophy in life. If you don't work really hard, you'll never achieve those dreams. So I dare you to dream.
Hi, my name is Walker. What is the most difficult task an astronaut faces in space?
Boy, the most difficult. I think, I guess it would just be being away from your family. It's, I really like my wife and my family, and that's really the hardest part, because everything we do up here is so darn much fun that it's really not hard. It's just awesome. So I love being up here. I just miss my wife.
Hi, my name is Gabriel. Has your time on the ISS caused you to consider or discount a future trip to Mars?
Well, absolutely. We're doing research on all sorts of systems for a Mars trip. So I absolutely consider that we will be going to Mars. I know we're going to go to Mars. We have tomorrow, we're going to be testing a athletic or a training system for physical fitness for the vehicle that goes to Mars. So we're looking at all sorts of systems that we can use. The life support systems that we have on the station, all sorts of things are to build the infrastructure so that when your generation is about my age or maybe a little less, Mars is going to be a reality.
Hi, my name is Andrew. What is the one thing you miss the most about not being on Earth?
I'm going to sound like a broken record, aren't I? I miss my wife, my family. My wife's my everything. So that's kind of, she's the battery that recharges my soul, and I miss her the most always.
Hi, my name is Miguel. Do you have any physical or mental rehab when you return to Earth?
Well, they do go through quite a bit of rehab. I don't think there's a whole lot of mental. We still talk to our doctors and make sure that we're not crazy. They might think that I'm crazy regardless, but physical, there's definitely a lot of rehab, because when we come up here, the body is really smart. The brain goes, okay, I don't need to work as hard because I don't have to fight gravity to keep blood where it needs to be. and the bones and the muscles, they're like, hey, I can take a break. So we have to fight those urges of our body to relax and adapt to this new environment, because when we get back, we have to reacclimate to Earth, and it's a whole lot harder going back to Earth than it is coming up here. One of the main things, not just your physical fitness, but also just you get used to just, stuff floats. So instead of putting it down on a table, you just kind of sit it there, and you go over here and you do something, and you come back and it's still there. You get used to stuff floating and flying, and you try to fly stuff back on Earth, and it doesn't work so good. So I've heard a lot of stories about people, throwing a plate to their wife or floating a plate to their wife back home, and it just hits the ground. So there's definitely rehab. We got to rewire our brain and get used to being back home.
Hi, my name is Nicholas, and what aspect of your time on the ISS is most fun or rewarding?
Boy, I think every day is, and it's because you really feel like you're part of a team, and it's a worldwide team. Every morning we have a conference at around 7 or 7:30 in the morning, and at 7 or 7:30 at night, and it is the entire world. We have centers in Japan, in Germany, in France, in Canada, in Houston, in Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, in Moscow, all over the place. And we all come together to talk about the plan for the day, and then we execute that plan together, and then we talk about what we did and what we're going to do the next day. It is so cool to be even a small part of such an amazing team that's accomplishing amazing things.
Hi, my name is Sebastian. With all the space debris, how do you avoid collisions in space?
Well, we have engines on the space station on the Russian segment. They're kind of on the back end, and the Air Force tracks all the debris. And when they determine that there's going to be a potential for something to hit us, something big enough that's really going to hurt us, then we try to do an impulse out of those rocket engines to raise our altitude and get out of the way. And sometimes we don't have enough time because we find out about it too late. And when that happens, we don't have time to do the impulse, so we basically go and sit in our Soyuz in our spacesuit, and if the ISS gets hit, if the space station gets hit, then we may have to leave. So we prepare for the worst and hope for the best. But most of the time, the good old Air Force finds those things beforehand and tells us, and then our team in Mission Control in Houston and Moscow determine how we're going to use the engines to get out of the way.
Hi, my name is Joe. Without the protection of the Earth's atmosphere, how do you stay safe from the sun's radiation?
Well, that's a great question. There's actually magnetic fields around the Earth. They're called the Van Allen belts, and we're still within them. So we still get a lot of the protection, the same protection that the Earth does from radiation. That's not to say that we don't get a lot more than folks on the ground. We will glow just a little bit when we get home, but for the most part, we're protected from the worst radiation.
Hi, my name is Ella. How do you feel private space vehicles have changed NASA's ability to complete more important missions?
Oh, they're a huge, huge boon to us because they are allowing NASA to focus on deep space exploration. So NASA now is focusing on building the Space Launch System, the biggest rocket ever, and then the Orion vehicle to go further and deeper into space. Those are the things that NASA gets to focus on because the commercial industry is focusing on how to get astronauts and cosmonauts to the space station. They are building the infrastructure so that we can have this wide, broad, strong base to jump off into the universe and explore deeper.
Hi, my name is Carson. What surprised you most about life in space?
I think, we talked about it earlier. I think the most surprising thing is just how cool it is. Everything's cool. You're eating your pudding, and it's squirting into a big old mountain that wobbles all about. You look out the window, and the aurora is just alive, and these green and purple and white ribbons dancing across the sky. You go outside on a spacewalk, and you look up and see at night more stars than you thought were possible. Everything about this place is just awesome, and it really stretches your mind and forces you to grow, and I love that. So why is it? The most surprising thing is that I never could have imagined how cool it is to be in space, and I want to do everything that I can in the future to get more people just like you to experience the same thing.
Hi, my name is Kyla. How has the development of space science changed over the life of the ISS?
Boy, that's a good question. The space station has been evolving and still evolves every single time a new vehicle comes up. Because every time a vehicle comes up, we bring new technology, new equipment, new racks, new experiments, new supplies to make this place better and to continue to grow. Right next to me is a rack that has these small experiments called nanoracks. And they're a great example of a very flexible, lower cost, but not necessarily lower technology experiments that are able to be flown and run and returned at a much faster rate. And that allows the science on the space station to keep up with the science on the Earth and now start to outpace it. Because in addition to having the lack of gravity and some of the other forces that can dominate problems and models on the ground, we don't have those. So if we can get the best technology up here as well, then we're going to be able to do even better science. And over the last couple of years, just an example, 5 years ago, say, if we got 30 hours of science for a whole crew in 1 week, it was amazing. Now, we'll probably break 100 hours this week with the people we have on board because the program and the team is so much better at getting science done and making that the focus of this place. So it has been an evolution. It continues to evolve, and I just can't wait to see where it goes.
Jack, this is Keith Trimble. I'm the Cub Master of Pack 643. That was our last question. Just want to thank you so much for spending your time with us. I want to thank you for your service to our country, and thank you so much for sharing your energy and expanding the horizons of our young children. Thank you.
You bet. I'll try to do a flip while you guys are watching. Woo! See? Everything's cooler in space. Well, thanks for having me, and it was great talking to y'all.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants from Boy Scouts of the Bay Area. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.